Alright, freaks, I saw the newest episode of Disventure Camp. I'm not feeling good about stuff. Let's record a video, shall we? I mentioned this way back in my hour-long video of Disventure Camp, which took way too much effort to make, so please go watch it, that I wanted to break down all of the contestants' backstories, and that's exactly what we're gonna do today, freaks. Like my Frida video from way back when, I got this idea from another YouTuber I like, Lydia Loves Timelines, who has a lot of different videos like this for things like The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, so go give her some love. Now let's cover some rules before we start. We're only gonna go over contestants, so no Crystal, Trevor, Derek, Emily, or Marcus or Jensen. We're also not gonna go over the fans in Season 5, at least not yet. The season is still going, and we know next to nothing about most of them. Anyway, let's get started. Like Lydia before me, we are starting alphabetically with Aiden. There isn't too much we know about Aiden's upbringing. Known as the original DC fan, his parents were super open and supportive about him being trans. He's a major theater kid, though he's having trouble finding success in that field. In a greeting, Aiden has said that he's had trouble with friends in the past, which gave him a lot of trust issues. And while we don't know exactly what they did, it's implied that it was related to his identity, which might be why he's not too comfortable talking about being trans. Aiden tried auditioning for the show in the past, but was turned down for not being interesting enough. In fact, the only reason he dyed his hair the way he does is so that the producers would notice him. And hey, it worked! And of course, his childhood teddy bear. Nothing to be embarrassed about Aiden, I've kept most of my childhood stuffed animals. Alec. Alec worked as a librarian and was married to his then-wife Cheryl with a son named Daniel. But it seems like they never truly discussed having kids, with Alec stating that he didn't want kids, but Cheryl did. So as you can imagine, things fell apart after Daniel was born. Alec was a very neglectful father, once completely ignoring his own son when he cut himself on glass. It's implied in All Stars that Alec doesn't truly love Daniel, but he has stated before that he wishes he was a better father. By the time he gets on Disventure Camp, his marriage was hanging by a thread, and he hoped that the money would fix things. Which it most likely wouldn't have. But hey, there's still hope that Alec will step up and actually be there for his family this time. Allesio. There isn't a lot we know about Alessio's past. He came from a family of poor street performers and is an artist in Italy, coming to Disventure Camp hoping to get his artistic spark back. Allie. Before Disventure Camp, Allie's grandfather passed away, who she was extremely close with. He taught her everything she knew about video games, making her a passionate gamer girl streamer. Allie's mom seems to be extremely critical of her life choices, from her gaming career to her love life. As a streamer, she's done a charity cosplay stream and had a controversy where she yelled at kids for cheating at a game, something that she does not seem to be remorseful of at all. Also, I don't know if you can hear this. If you hear barking in the background, I'm very sorry. That's, my neighbor's dog who barks her head off every time she sees people. Amelie. We don't know too much about Amelie's upbringing before her time on the show. She's a cutthroat businesswoman, being the CEO of a wedding planning company, and has a boyfriend named Henry who's also in the planning business. Amelie seems to take her job very seriously and has probably been pretty aggressive with past clients. Anastasia. Similar to another Season 1 contestant and others, Anastasia's trauma is rooted in homophobia, growing up as a model in Russia. Her parents did this to escape financial debt, not at all caring about their daughter's well-being. At some point in her career, Anastasia had a secret relationship with her makeup artist, but then it got exposed and, this being Russia, her modeling career fell apart, her relationship ended, and her family cut her off. Despite the few good memories she had there, Anastasia has stated that Russia is no longer her home. All of this caused her to have extreme paranoia that the people she cares about will somehow leave. But hey, at least Anastasia now has Marissa and her dog Diamond. Ashley. There isn't too much we know about Ashley's upbringing. She grew up with her parents and two younger sisters on her family farm. Sometime before the show, Ashley had a party on the farm which led to a huge fire that caused a lot of damage and animals to die. Her family has since forgiven her for what happened, but Ashley has developed a fear of fire and the farm has lost a lot of money. It took a while, but thankfully the Graham farm has managed to rebuild after so long. Benji. We don't know that much about Benji's childhood, but his parents seem to be extremely controlling with high standards. He got into law school to please his parents, but has shown a clear disinterest in the field. We don't exactly know what Benji wants to do with his life, heck, he might even not know right now himself. But he's shown to be super creative and a huge geek, so whatever he does, I hope it's more artistic. Connor. There isn't much we know about Connor's life. He inherited his perfume company from his parents, who are now living in retirement playing golf. Connor also has a high school sweetheart/future wife named Anya. Connor wanted to feel like he accomplished something in life, so he gets on Disventure Camp, going through a bit of a midlife crisis. I really hope we get a comic about Connor and Anya's romance because I need to know their history and how they reconnected. Dan. There isn't a lot known about Dan either. He has an older sister and 2 parents who are STEM majors. By the way, I got this information based on my own memory and from the Disventure Camp wiki, particularly the article about their family members. Diego. Diego grew up in Colombia with a huge love of animals and loving parents. He works as a tour guide and has a pretty big pattern of falling hard and fast for different people, which would always end in heartbreak, including a man named Felix. While I do not have a lot of faith in the Spencer and Diego ship, I hope that Diego will learn to love himself and have a true epic romance one day. Drew. The only thing we know about Drew is that his parents wanted to fix his tooth gap, but he's had a bad experience with a dentist that caused his gums to bleed that gave him a deep fear of dentists. Ouch. Ellie. Literally, the main thing we know about Ellie is that she grew up in poverty, working multiple jobs starting at 14. It's literally the only thing she talks about herself. She seems to have a good relationship with her family and wants to study fashion design. I don't remember if she was already studying fashion design when she got on the show, or she enrolled after season 1. I guess after a while she didn't let being poor hold her back anymore, but I don't know. If any of you guys know, please tell me in the comments. Fiore. There isn't much known about Fiore's home life, but we can guess that her parents have failed her considering how she is. Fiore even pulled in Azula, saying she knows she's a monster, but it hurts to hear her mom say. I really hope we get to see more about her and her parents because they must have been extremely cold to her. Gabby. There isn't a lot we know about Gabby's childhood. Her parents were usually busy with work, so most of the time her aunt took care of her. It's also been mentioned a few times that Gabby doesn't have the best relationship with her dad. She's a passionate vegan, environmentalist, and animal lover. She seems to struggle with mental health issues and codependency on those around her with an intense fear of being alone. She has a lot of pets, plants, and seems to have some sort of criminal record. Some people have theorized that Gabby has schizophrenia, but I don't think it's true since it's never been mentioned in the show or the wiki. I personally thought it was just a manifestation of her self-loathing thoughts. We all have them. Gret. It's been implied that Gret's mom is a toxic boy mom, always preferring her younger brother Gary over Gret. And it seems like growing up, Gret always tried to get her parents' approval while also being ridiculed for her weight. I think she said that she did pageants, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm also not sure how her relationship with her brother is, but I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't close and had some sort of resentment towards each other. Hannah. Bartender Hannah's father passed away before she was born, and her mom passed away when she was only 12. While she was still alive, her mom had taught her archery, and after her mom died, Hannah was raised by her grandparents. It's been heavily implied that these losses caused her to have intense abandonment issues considering how hard she took her friends getting eliminated. I was honestly glad when Hannah didn't come back for season 5, at least for her own mental health. She's gonna need a lot of therapy before she goes back on the show. Hunter. In school, Hunter was bullied so intensely that he had to get homeschooled. Because of this, he doesn't have the best social skills. Hunter's mom has suffered from depression since before Hunter was born, having the most support from her best friend, Grace. At one point growing up, Hunter told his mother that he doesn't remember what she was like when she was happy, which encouraged her to get better. We've never heard Hunter talk about his dad, but he's apparently a game designer that lives in Japan for some reason. Why his dad lives in Japan, I'm not sure. I don't think his parents are divorced, but I hope they're okay. Isabelle. I'm pretty sure Isabelle said that she once did drugs in high school. At least that's how I interpreted it. At some point, she found solace in Catholicism and became a nun. However, her unconventional methods of spreading the word of God got her in trouble with her convent and she went to a different one. I'm pretty sure she did at least. It seems like Isabelle's parents didn't support this life change, and it's possible she doesn't talk much to them. Heaven forbid your child finds religion, I guess. We don't know much about her family, but we do know she has 2 younger sisters. I hope she talks to them at least. Ivy. Ivy's parents are well-known Hungarian actors. She was pretty shy as a kid, but she came out of her shell with her love of theater, becoming an actress herself. Despite how close she seems to be with her parents, her mother gifting her iconic heart-shaped earrings, Ivy has said her parents are pretty difficult to please and expect perfection. That most likely explains why she got so intense during the musical challenge. Jade. Jade grew up with vitiligo and her two mothers. They helped her have a better view of her condition and inspired her to pursue marine biology. While Jade is passionate about marine biology as a whole, she has a particular soft spot for sea turtles. I'm not sure if there's much else about her, but Franklin is super cute. Jake. Jake's parents were extremely toxic and emotionally abusive. We don't hear a lot of specifics, but we see the impact they had on Jake's mental health, particularly in their homophobia, which is most likely why he never came out to them. In Tom Jake 2, Jake says that Darlene gave him and his brother no real privacy and was extremely invasive. Jake was always extremely close with his grandmother Mary, who Miriam reminds him of, and has been sick before he got on the show. Sometime before the show, Jake was in a possibly secret relationship with a guy named Blake. The relationship was extremely toxic and emotionally abusive, and the bastard freaking cheated on him. This obviously gave Jake severe trust issues and hates it when people lie to him. I really want to talk more about Jake and his family in a future video alongside his relationship with Tom, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it. James. James seemed to have trouble making friends growing up since his only friend was his younger sister Carla. At some point, James became famous on TikTok despite his first 1,000 followers being bots. Ever since, he's used his followers as the validation he never had as a kid. Kai. We don't know much about Kai other than him being a spiritual hippie. Carol. We don't know too much about Carol either. She has a great connection with animals and has a lot of trouble connecting with people. She's a bit of a Karen, but her heart isn't completely made of stone. I do hope that she and Aiden were able to patch things up, though. Lake. Lake's parents were extreme perfectionists, constantly making Lake study and be proper. All that stress caused her hair to fall out at a young age, making her need a wig. She wanted to buy a red wig, but her mother insisted she wore a blonde wig to, quote, look like a proper lady. Lake has a passion for writing, which her parents seem to belittle to just a fun hobby. Her most fleshed out story is about a girl who wishes to break free from her controlling parents and has a romance with her best friend. Her parents had also arranged her to be married to a boy, which is problematic considering she's still a teenager and is gay, something she wouldn't realize about herself until later on. It's pretty clear Lake used her story as an outlet for her repressed resentment of her parents and sexuality. She also has a few older brothers who she doesn't really talk to, but hey, at least she's free and I really hope she's extremely happy with Mariana. Lil. We don't know much about Lil's past. She works as a Girl Scout leader, getting on the show to win money for her girls. I really hope she comes back one day. Logan. We don't know too much about Logan's childhood. He seems to be pretty close with his family, but probably has a tense relationship with his dad. Logan is an Olympic swimmer, but has always gotten third place. While we don't know too much about Logan's past, it's implied that the things he wanted always felt just out of reach for him. Hey, it's me before I actually start to edit this video. The new comic dropped yesterday about Logan, and had I known that, I would have written and recorded the video before this dropped, but we got some more information about Logan and his backstory, which contextualizes a lot about him in season 4. Okay, so this is his family, and we find out that, I don't know if this guy is his grandpa or something, it probably is, but it seems that Logan's dad left his family. Like his mom was just raising them on her own, 3 kids. It seems like Logan's dad left, and it seems because of that, to, like, as she says in the comic, to take her mind off of the pain, and I guess to try and distract everybody from the pain. She pretty much was super perfectionist. She was a huge perfectionist when it came to her family, and that includes her 2 younger kids with what they do. I forgot what this kid did, but she dances, I think ballet, and she had to be perfect in that, and I think he did music, I forgot. But basically, Logan has to be like the golden boy. That's why he's so, that's why he has the whole thing about always placing third, because that wouldn't be good enough for his career. That's not good enough for his mom. And also, hold on, let me see if I can, here, and this is, Logan when he was a kid, okay? Cute kid, by the way, cute kid. And it seems like, he always had, suspicions or feelings of being, queer, or more specifically bi. But because of all the locker room talk that happened around him, like look at this. Like, swear to God, he's fruity. Like, I don't want that in my locker room. Like, it's talk like that made him repress these feelings. And when you think about that, it makes that one Fear Factor episode, that one episode in season 4 make a lot of sense. That maybe it wasn't him discovering that he's bi, it was more him fully accepting to himself that he's bi, because it was talk like this that made him like, oh wow, this is something that I shouldn't be open about. It's things like that. So yeah, that's what I thought that I should pop in and real quick add that, because it contextualizes a lot about Logan. And also, I'm pretty sure that that Jade had also wanted to go to hold on, where was it? Nigeria. That Jade had also wanted to use the money to go to Nigeria to further do research on turtles, on sea turtles. Basically, that's where her family is from, and she wanted to go there to further make a difference. Just expanding a bit more on Jade's dreams with marine biology and her goals and what she wants to do. I really liked this comic, actually. The comics have been a great addition and expansion to this show. I love them. Linda is a typical housewife who wants to do more with herself. She married her husband at 19 and didn't go to college like she wanted. I mean, nowadays you can do both, but still. They had 2 sons together, and as much as she loves her family, they don't entirely respect her. They constantly underestimate her, and they only see her as a housewife and mom. Throughout the season, Linda has implied that she's pretty active in her community, hosting different clubs and get-togethers, so at least she keeps herself busy. And hey, don't worry. In a greeting, Linda has said that she was able to patch things up with her family, and the men help out more around the house. So that's good to hear. And hey, it's never too late for her to go to college if that's what she still wants. Maggie. There isn't much we know about Wallflower Maggie. She was constantly bullied for her size, something that her parents had trouble helping out with. At some point, Maggie broke her crush's arm while arm wrestling. Yikes. Marissa. There isn't a lot known about Marissa's past. Her dad seems to be in the military or the army, which is probably a family tradition as her brothers are also gonna enlist. She seems to be close and competitive with her family, helping her mom settle arguments with her brothers. Miriam. In her youth, Miriam was part of her school's rowing team and did some knife throwing. Down the line, she married her husband Jonathan and they had their son Kurt. Before she got on the show, her family was struggling financially and was on the verge of possibly selling the house. Kurt was also in a relationship with a man named Josh who he was planning on proposing to. But tragedy struck on Jonathan's birthday. Kurt and Jonathan were out of the house while Miriam made strawberry cheesecake for her husband and were then tragically killed by a drunk driver. Miriam went through a deep depression and was forced to sell the house along with all the memories it had. Hopefully with the money she won, she was able to get the house back. And hey, at least she found a family within Tom and Jake. Natalia. Not much is known about Natalia's past. She has a brother and an aunt who she says is her biggest inspiration, and she works as a publicist. Though I don't think Natalia had a lot of support growing up. The only thing her family supported her in was for being trans. She clearly grew up with a lot of insecurity, which she hides with humor and confidence. But she is fiercely loyal to her friends and is always armed with a sassy quip. Honestly, the way that this season is going, I really hope that she opens up more and we find out more about her past. Nick. The only thing we know about Nick's life is that his family is very wealthy. Nick became very spoiled and a bit snobbish. He eventually moved out of his parents' house and joined the show just to stick it to them. Oliver. We don't know too much about Oliver. He used to work for Crystal's father, Kristoff, which has been heavily implied to be really stressful and unpleasant. But as much as he hated it, it was also the only job he knew since he turned down working at his aunt's salon. Richard. Richard used to be a high school basketball coach. He never got the chance to come out to his parents, something he seems to regret in life. He has a husband and daughter who he described as a chaotic mess, but he loves them. Guess Natalia wasn't entirely joking about something being a pain in his ass. I'm sorry. Rhea. Rhea was a Bollywood actress who moved to America to make it big in Hollywood. Yet she hasn't had any success, only being cast as extras. I wonder how successful she was in Bollywood. At one point, she was scammed out of money thinking she was getting an audition. She's also extremely close with her younger sister, Isha. I wonder how much of an inspiration Rhea is after her behavior on the show. Bitch. Rosa Maria. Rosa, who used to work at her dad's garage, got pregnant when she was just 16 and doesn't know who the father is. People interpret that Rosa was taken advantage of from a now non-canon comic, but I personally took it as Rosa being active as a teen. But then again, who knows if that's what actually happened? I'm not gonna think anything until it comes out of Rosa's mouth herself. After she got pregnant, Rosa's parents cut her off, and the only support she got was from her older sister. She then gave birth to her daughter Sophia without an epidural, ouch. Even with her sister's help, she still struggled to raise Sophia, at one point needing to steal baby food. Rosa is also a boutique owner, but we don't know how or when that happened. We don't know exactly why she decided to go through with her pregnancy, but Rosa seems to have no regrets, as long as it was her choice. Spencer. I don't think we know a lot about Spencer. He was very studious and is very close with his family and sisters. He's also mentioned to have had a pretty rough relationship with a self-defense instructor, though we don't know the full details. It must have been pretty bad if he dodged Diego the way he did. I'm still not over it. Ted. Ted is a professional poker player with a wife and son. There isn't much we know other than that, but his career almost caused him and his wife to divorce. But they did manage to patch things up. I'm not his biggest fan, but I do admire how much he loves his family. He even said in a greeting that he was disgusted by Alec's treatment of Daniel, saying he would never treat his son like that. So yeah, kudos to Ted. Tess. Tess grew up in an orphanage that was probably not the best, as she described it as cold, dark, and empty. At one point in her childhood, she painted a picture that was so dark and disturbing that she was unwillingly put into a mental hospital. Yeesh. It seems like Tess was never adopted, and her time at the orphanage caused her to struggle with depression for most of her life. Somewhere down the line, she seems to have given up on trying to be happy, leaving art school, not always taking her meds, and not being completely honest with her therapists. But thankfully, she's in a much healthier place with the support of Allie and Hunter. I wish we actually got to see Tess's art, and I kinda wanna see that infamous piece. Tom. Oh boy. Tom has one of, if not the darkest backstories in the whole show. His father was extremely dangerous and abusive, which deeply traumatized him, giving him PTSD. His mother, Jackie, was protective and loving and managed to get them both out of that situation. She later remarried a man named Jerry and had Tom's half-brother Tony, but they would later split. Tom wanted to follow his mother's footsteps to become a spy because he wanted to help people. After years of training, he went on his first mission, which went terribly wrong. He was found out and tortured, leaving him with scars and worsening his trauma. Tom was given another chance and was assigned to investigate Disventure Camp, especially since Jensen was involved. Feeling ashamed of his scars, he opted to cover himself up and put walls around him. Along with Jake, I plan on making a whole video analyzing Tom and his family. It's something that I've been planning on for a while, so you're not gonna want to miss it. Tristan. Yeah, this one isn't much happier. Tristan's parents have been extremely abusive and unsupportive about Tristan's identity. They said their dad gets angry when they correct him about being a girl, and their mom drinks pretty often to forget about them. Despite all of this, Tristan maintains a positive outlook on life and is studying fashion. Go off, goth royalty. Will. We don't know too much about Will. He grew up in the city with his mother and grew up with a lot of fears, once almost falling out of a window during a game of hide and seek. Oof. Yule. I'm not sure how canon this still is, but in the beta season, Yule's parents escaped North Korea. It's still listed on the wiki, so I don't know what to think. Yule's parents forced him into a dance contest which launched his dancing career, and he apparently has an older brother who we've never seen or heard of before. At one point he got a concussion after falling off stage, getting the crew to delete the footage. Kinda funny how we never got to see his crappy dancing. We don't know what exactly happened to make him such a terrible person, but I hope his family hates him for it. He may have always been a piece of trash considering he came on the show to fix his image after a video was posted of him pushing an old lady down an escalator. I hate this guy. And finally, Zade. Professional chef Zade immigrated with his mother and younger sister from Morocco to the US to escape his abusive father. Zade had always helped raise his little sister, causing him to grow up a little too fast as a teen. At some point during his chef career, he was tricked into making koala tacos? How does that even happen? Zade has a lot of love for his family, motivated to win the money for them. Whew, and there you have it. That's the backstory of every single Disventure Camp contestant so far. Let me know if I should make a part 2 with future contestants once we know more about them. I honestly thought this video was gonna be a lot harder to make, but apparently not. I have a couple of more Disventure Camp videos coming up, so subscribe if you want to see them. Thanks for watching, freaks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and until then, I'll be in the fandom zone. Bye!